Hello, Mrs. Amir. How are you? I responded to your email this morning. Did you see that? Thank you for your emails. Let's see, live chat. Okay. So, one of the things that I responded to is you said to delete a post because it looked like it had some, like, that you were concerned it had somebody's personal information in it. And it was weird because one of the places I looked at had their phone number. It had like an area code and a phone number, but on the post itself, it didn't have that. So I don't know if you're able to respond and let me know if that's what your concern was. Um, because I was wanting to address it and then I couldn't. So I just responded and let you know that via email. So, how is the lighting and all this stuff? I have done a little bit of touching up of the lighting, of the jewelry, of the hair, of my liquids and my notes and everything. So, is the lighting all good? It seems like it is. You see the little mouse over here in the pumpkin, kind of Gabby Petito Cinderella style. Anna Bees, how was your surgery yesterday? What's up, girlfriend? And yeah, I responded to an email from you too. And look, oh my goodness, I accidentally I was trying to I was trying to pin your message and it made it go away. Dang it. How do I undo that? I'm so sorry. That is ridiculous. Why? Why? Fat thumbs, man. It won't let me undo it. That is so annoying. Totally not going to let me do it. And if I try too hard, I might create more trouble. Dang it. That is crazy. Okay, I'm just going to stop messing with it. Sorry, Annabise. If you want to, if you can redo your comment, then I will try to highlight it and not erase it. But see, that's the thing with this stupid touch screen. It's really hateful. So it keeps going in and out. Like I'll have my little cursor arrow for a while and then it'll go out again. And then I'm back to the touch screen. So let me quit. Oh, look, and all these other comments that it was hosing up. It went well. I'm in less. Yeah, I didn't see any of these. This is so ridiculous. I'm in less pain than before. Thank you for all the prayers. Oh, I'm so glad that you're in less pain. That's amazing. I did some of the yoga last night. Oh, wow. Yeah, be careful with it because you don't want to overextend yourself. And there is a lot of tricky knee work in it. Even just like, the hero's pose, like sitting on your feet with your knees bent, that is very tricky. The compression on your knees is pretty intense. It looks really easy, especially when little kids do it. It's always been very challenging for me. But I think I need some chapstick. I need some water. What happened to my chapstick? Man. Let's just get going. Rolling, I've got so much to speak with you guys about. Hit your like button if you'd be so kind. But yeah, I'm glad you did some of the yoga last night. I did as well. And I do it almost every single night. And then sometimes I just need to take a day or more off. And I kind of feel like last night, maybe I shouldn't have done it, but I did it kind of gingerly because normally I push myself like as far as I can, basically. And yeah, I'm getting a lot of results in my flexibility and my muscle tone. But yeah, you just got to be really careful, especially with your knees. It was just stretching that I did. Awesome sauce. I like that pigeon thing. I do the reclined pigeon towards the beginning of the video, but you can also do, and I do that laying on my back for the reclined pigeon, but you can also do pigeon like laying on your front And it is pretty wild if you want to look it up. But again, that's something that you probably wouldn't want to do for a little while. Make sure you're still subscribed if you are subscribed. And if you're not, please consider it. Share a video of mine with somebody that you think might like my channel, and turn on your notification bell to ring. So everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, and learn something and be educational. And all my videos are made for YouTube, and it's an entertainment platform. So you guys know that I live in Ohio, and I love it. I really do love Ohio for a lot of reasons. One of those reasons is just because it's where my ancestors are buried. And there's quite a cool feeling in being in the same area where your ancestors rode their horses and carriages and all that jazz, right? Another reason I love it is because it's not too crowded. So I try to not tell people about how cool it is. I'm like, nah, Ohio just sucks. You don't want to come here. There's nothing to see over here, folks. But it does have some downsides. And one of those downsides is the trafficking. So there is a ton of the rug trafficking, and then a ton of the medical harvesting trafficking. Like, we are possibly the national headquarters for that. I bet you that we are. I'm not sure of that. Again, I could ask Google, but I don't even know if Google would tell you the truth about such things. But we're also numero uno, it's fair to say, for the adult entertainment type of trafficking, which is just horrific, horrifying. One of the reasons is because Interstate 75 cuts right through our state, and it goes all the way up to Canada and all the way down to Florida. And so you can, smuggle things north, you can smuggle things south, people being one of those things. But over the weekend, I watched a documentary. I mentioned it yesterday or probably the day before also. I watched a documentary about New Albany, Ohio. New Albany, which I'd heard of it. I mean, if you have any Bath and Body Works products like I do, here's one right here. It probably says New Albany right on the back. Let's see. There it is, New Albany. This is a good one. Raspberry tangerine. I'm going to go ahead and spray it. I'm addicted to good smells. But then I also have this more au natural. This one is doTERRA, and it's valerian root, which I love. It's very earthy and very relaxing. So I'm going to have both the uplifting tangerine raspberry and then the real woodsy valerian root. Okay, there. My aromatherapy. So yeah, New Albany is on the eastern side of Columbus. Columbus is our state capital, and it's pretty much right smack in the center of the state. And there's a lot of cool stuff about Columbus. I mean, not to brag or anything. Obviously, OSU has a lot of really high points. It also has some really low points. There's been a lot of abuses of the real personal violating type from coaches there. And then there's the owner of Bath and Body Works, who I won't say his whole name. I'll just call him Les. That's his first name. And he's 87 years old, and he retired last year, and he's by far the richest person in the state of Ohio. He owns pretty much the entire town of New Albany. It wasn't that long ago that it was like a regular town of about 600 people, kind of a farming town. And so I watched this little documentary about it, and I'll see if I can put a link in the description to the documentary. Yeah, it was on YouTube that I watched it. I was thinking it was on like Netflix or something, but no, it was YouTube. So I can definitely put that link. It was fascinating to me. So it also, dovetails right into this whole trafficking thing. So I want to slow down. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Our current administration, the weirdo in the White House shall we call him Little T, and then his old buddy Little E, who was extremely tight with Les. Les pretty much adopted Little E to be his personal financial person. But I'm just going to say it again, it's my opinion, but it's fact as far as I'm concerned. There's a lot of homoerotica around these people. And like you can see it with somebody like, let's just say Pete, the guy who's the Secretary of Defense right now. He's a hot dude. And do you think that El Presidente has him around because of his brains and his personality? I don't think so. He likes his pretty boys. He likes his pretty girls too. And so, a lot of people are pretty indiscriminate of male and female, and they don't want to admit it. And then they go and project that onto everybody else. But especially, oh my goodness, you guys, I've never said this on my YouTube. And it's something that a lot of people don't know, even people in the field of mental health. People with personality disorders, and cluster B specifically, which is like narcissistic, histrionic, borderline, I like to say melodramaculous, antisocial personality disorder. There's one or two others in there, but like those are the main personality disorders that we see in true crime and just in general. Like those are the least rare is cluster B. So you see a lot of narcissism, a lot of the antisocial personality disorder, a lot of histrionic and borderline. Did I already say borderline? That's histrionic and borderline are two different personality disorders, but they're similar. So they're all in the same cluster because they all have the same basic elements, being completely self-absorbed, being extremely charming, very bright, very manipulative, very conniving, and very hurtful. Like these people live with a lot of pain. I like to think of them as having like a 3rd-degree burn all over their body. So when the wind blows, it causes them severe pain. And if you hang out with them, they want you to experience the same pain that they feel. So they do a lot of horrible, horrible, crazy things. And we all have personality disturbed folks in our lives. We can all recognize it when we learn what it is if we don't know already. But one of the main features is something that a lot of even mental health professionals don't know, is that people with personality disorders, so narcissism, we know anybody in our current administration or government that might have a narcissistic personality disorder? Think. They're extraordinarily bi. I'll just say it. They are extraordinarily bi. They love attention and they crave everybody's attention, everybody's approval, and they're often hypersexualized. And even if they don't act on their bisexual impulses, they usually have extremely strong bisexual impulses. So just something to keep in mind. So back to the richest man in Ohio and his boy that expired in prison in 2019. In my video yesterday, at one point I said 2016, just complete dyslexia in my brain with the 9 upside down. Sometimes those things are just inexplicable. But anyway, back to the point. These people are so abusive. So Little E and Ghislaine, is that, I think that's how you say her name. It looks like Giselle or something like that, but it's just Ghislaine, Maxwell. Her and Little E would entice young girls, underage girls, into their lair, whether that was the 7-story penthouse, like the largest, most expensive single dwelling in Manhattan, or the island in the Caribbean, Little E Island, or the ranch in New Mexico. is it Santa Fe? I think it's in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I'll have to look, but I don't want to pick up my phone because you know how that goes. Anyway, we know it's in New Mexico, and then the main mothership of it all, which is in New Albany, Ohio, this like weird little podunk town 30 miles east of Columbus. And it's an even weirder little podunk town now because it's like all warehouses. There was actually an open shooting incident at one of these warehouses a few months ago. So it's Licking County. And it seems to me that there's too many live shooters in Licking County. I remember one like 5 or 10 years ago that happened at a nursing home. It was domestic violence, and the guy went in to shoot his girlfriend or wife or whatever, and a very untrained police chief tried to help, and he ended up deceased too. I think at least one other person might have been deceased in the nursing home. And then the shooter himself then also was deceased. So it was just awful. Anyway, that was also in Licking County. And this New Albany is in Licking County. So it's really like in the sticks, except for now it is like beyond your wildest imagination of warehouses. And you can see that if you just Google it. And you can also see that in the YouTube video that I'll put a link in the description to. So Les wanted everybody out of his town. So he bought them out or he ran them out. And another big company that's moving in there is Intel. So remember like 5 years ago when Intel was like taking bids from all over the country to do their chip manufacturing? And I did not realize it was supposed to open. The factory was supposed to open right now in 2025, but it's been postponed for another 5 years. And the plans have changed. Like they started it on schedule, but now it's basically like 2 factories. So they're trying to become the world headquarters for computer chips, essentially. So that's New Albany, this little podunk town of 600 people that Les has this giant mansion that looks an awful lot like a prison. And for people that he and little E and Ghislaine would trick into getting there, it was a prison. And Maria Farmer and her little sister Annie Farmer are 2 of his sexploits, 2 of little E and Ghislaine's sexploits. I don't know about their interactions with Les. Les is really protected. Like he's the brains behind it all. And he's had those tendencies going way back to the 80s, allegedly. But his name is left out of everything. It's gross because it's almost like little E was his sacrificial lamb. And, you know, he gave that up to continue to buy himself a low profile. And everybody projected all their hatred onto little E and Ghislaine, which it's warranted, but Les deserves just as much. However, he pays for everything. He, as well as JD Vance, potential Pope, stole the breath from the Pope, basically. They both graduated from OSU. OSU has a lot of great programs, a lot of great people that have come from there, a lot of great football players that come from there. My grandparents went to school there. My mother was born there. I love OSU. And they've saved my dog's life with their cancer treatment for the dog. However, a lot of their buildings are named after Les. So he gives them a lot of money. And then all this stuff with the sports and with the coaches, it's all wrapped up into one. And then you have that whole thing with the Abercrombie and Fitch people, Michael Jeffries and another one. So Michael Jeffries, I just got an update on him last night. He's like 80. He's the one who was arrested in October for doing all the crap that Little E did. Jeffries did under the guise of promising people Abercrombie and Fitch modeling careers, sort of like Weinstein promising people Hollywood acting careers, or did he not? Sean Combs promising people musical careers, and that other guy, R. Kelly, promising people musical careers. I mean, that whole casting couch thing is real and it continues to happen, and it's horrifying. So the things that happened to Maria Farmer and her little sister Annie Farmer, and what they've endured and what they've accomplished with telling their stories and helping other victims, both that were victimized by the same ring. And it's an international ring, you guys, and that's where I'm going with all this, is it all ties into what's going on in our current government administration. All of these people hung out together, and Billy Bob Clinton as well. So it was back in, was it like the 2016 election? I have it in my notes. That was when one of the victims decided to come forward because they'd been abused by both candidates, essentially. The husband of one of the candidates and the other candidate as well. So that candidate also has probably 170 pictures that you can Google, literally. Google counted for me, of himself with Prince Andrew and his wife, his lovely wife, who now I'm wondering if she was trafficked to him, basically. We know that they consummated the relationship on his jet, which he got from Little E. And then he used that exact same jet that Little E would use to trap kids on Epstein Island. He used that same jet for his presidential campaign. This is some crazy crap. Some crazy crap. And then you have somebody, did I say it in my video yesterday? Like I said, I'm going to try to not get ahead of myself, and I want to read your chat because it probably cut off my feed by now. Slow it down for a second. My brain is just running fast forward. It's a ring. It's a trafficking ring. It all the billionaires of our time, including the one who has been the head of Doge and is saying he's going to step down and go back and try to bail out his little company Tesla. It's fallen in size. Yeah, just like his manhood, right? Ugh. So yeah, they've done a lot of terrible, hurtful things to people. And then they say, oh no, it was not I. I've never been on that plane. I don't even know that person. Oh, well, you have all those videos. Well, I quit talking to them. So yeah, it's nuts. I'm going to read your comments. And I can't use my arrow, so let's hope I don't mess things up with my finger, with my fat finger. It's not, there we go. I need to build my muscles before my physical therapy starts. Ms. Jazz, did you manage to find the community post I was talking about? So I did. I found it, but I didn't see the thing that you were talking about. But somehow it showed up a different one. It had like a phone number, I think, for somebody's comment. That was the one that you did the screenshot of. So it had their phone number, but then when I looked at it, it didn't have their phone number. So thank you for that, though. I really appreciate it. Is chat in a different place for everyone? No, Fred, I don't think so. Well, Muskrat is not pretty. Oh no, he's not, but he's got the money, and that's a big turn on, right? Yes, Zorro Ranch is located in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Boob tube, what's up, girlfriend or boyfriend or friend? So thank you for the name of it, because yeah, I came across the name of it recently, but I didn't write it down, so it didn't get committed to memory. And sorry, I got a call from the surgery center seeing if I was okay. Well, very good. Hope you're okay, Anna. Thank you, BT. It's a little sore. Muscles are sore, but I may have overdone it yesterday, but I really appreciate everyone's good wishes. Well, probably they gave you like morphine or something for the pain that made yesterday an easy day. And then 24 hours after that is cleared from your system, it's going to be harder, is my guess. That's often how surgeries are done. But you know, you're a nurse, you know way more than I do. And yeah, the good thing is the technology has just launched, continues to launch itself forward and move by leaps and bounds to be better and more streamlined and less invasive. Fred Field says, my chat used to be to the right of the live stream. Now a queue is there and chat is to the right of chat comment area below the do. I think you meant the queue. That's wild. Yeah, I mean, our systems update. So yeah, mine is still on the right. You have such a good memory. Me? Sometimes I try. And the more I do my lives, the sharper my memory is, which is one of the reasons why I love doing them. Because I used to have a perfect memory. And then, you know, you get older and there's just too much information. I mean, just the speed at which information comes across our brains and across our screens, and then all the things that my kids want me to remember, which, you know, I want to remember the things I want to remember. Thank you very much. But it's a lot. So, yeah, it's like you only have so much memory. That's why I always joke about the chip, because it's like, yeah, in a sense, that seems very attractive to have more memory. But no, you don't mess with Mother Nature, especially like I don't want to be a guinea pig. Like maybe if it's been around for 50 or 100 years, I might be willing to mess with it, but no. I used to have a good memory, but it's getting very hard. So Anna Bees, I know people do crossword puzzles and Sudoku to try to help with that, or play Wordle or whatever types of things. But for me, it's staying on top of true crime and staying on top of my cases and my conversation with you guys that really helps to keep me sharp. I still blank out all the time. I glitch out all the time. One sec. What drives me the craziest is when I don't finish my thought. And I think I've wrapped up all of those thoughts that I started and wasn't finishing, about like the bisexual tendencies and Michael Jeffries. I didn't finish talking about him. See, look, I remembered. He's turned 80. He is just as bad as little E, just as bad. And he just had himself declared incompetent to stand trial. And my guess is that he's making that crap up. That is infuriating for all the victims. These people are such snakes. Like little E, he revised his will 2 days before he expired. And I don't think anybody believes that he expired himself. I mean, maybe some people do, but it seems pretty obvious that he was expired by external forces. And I was amazed to come across the information over the weekend about his personal longstanding history with attorney. He was the attorney general in little T's first administration, William Barr, and his father, who was the one who hired little E to work as a school teacher at a high school, teaching math and physics when he had no degree. He'd gone to college, but he dropped out, and he lied and he said he had the credentials that were required. And William Barr's dad hired him. And then William Barr has always protected him, and William Barr has always been protected. So, one of the things that I was getting at to say again today that I didn't get at, but I said it yesterday, is that little E had video cameras installed all over his 7-story Manhattan house. He had those all over all of his properties. And he had a house in New Albany on that property, next to his buddy Les, who was funding him basically. And he was kind of like Les's Cato, like OJ had Cato, Les had little E. And Ghislaine, so they would procure these people, but they had videotapes, cameras hiding everywhere. And so they would invite all of these politicians and royals to their parties, and they have videotapes of them. So we know that the same thing with Puffy, right? That was his thing too. Part of that is that they want to watch them whenever they want to watch them, but the main thing is the blackmailing leverage. So when little E expired, where did all of that evidence go? Because law enforcement had gotten their hands on all of that evidence, and who's in these tapes, the same people whose names are in the flight logs, people who say that they never got on his plane. The plane. I think Billy Bob says he never got on that plane, and he was on that plane a lot, like around 20 times, according to the flight logs. Donnie admits being on the plane because he hooked up with Melania on the plane, and he's only in the flight logs like 7 times, but still. One is too many, 1,000 is never enough, right? So the point that I was trying to make that I'm losing track of, one thing is I get overwhelmed with the truth, and then I want to lose track of it because it's horrifying. It's horrifying. So all of these people that have been hurt, that were not compensated, and then the thing with little E revising his will made it really hard for the victims to get the money that the courts had awarded them. But I think that they've still gotten it. It's just been more challenging. And this is a lot of money. So how many people can be bought off, like when it comes to attorneys and judges and that kind of thing, and politicians and everyone else, people's parents, or even the clients or the victims themselves? When people sign a settlement agreement, it's usually, almost always, if not always, along with a non-disclosure agreement. And there's boundaries that non-disclosure agreements have to maintain. So a lot of people want illegal non-disclosure agreements that you can't say anything forever, right? It's usually time limited is one of the things. And it's also usually specific. Like, you can't talk about what happened at the party. You can't talk about the complaints in the lawsuit, but it doesn't mean you can't mention the person's name. But people get very intimidated and afraid, and they get threatened. Ghislaine threatened Maria Farmer many times. So when a victim is paid a settlement, it's like, that's kind of like hush money too, basically. I mean, it prevents having to go to court, but it also keeps it quiet. So a lot of times the victims don't want to go to court because it's just too emotional. And sometimes they do want to go to court, even though it's emotional. They want this information to be public. They want to have a public confrontation with their abuser. So Maria Farmer was this very talented artist, and she was in her late 20s when little E and Ghislaine got their paws on her. She was the one who was held captive at the New Albany property that looks like a prison, that was a prison for her. She was held captive there for like a month or 3 months. I think she was at the New Mexico property too. So one of them, it was 1 month, and one it was 3 months. I think it was about a month in New Albany and then 3 months at the one in New Mexico. But she was an art student, and she thought that this was a wealthy art dealer who was offering her a job and a sweetheart of a deal. So we'll get to that sweetheart of a deal with Alex Acosta. That guy. I mentioned him yesterday. He was the one I was trying to show you his face on the phone. And I did put up a community post of his disgusting face and his wife, who looks like she's about to vomit because she knows what he did. He protected little E. And he's personally responsible for about 25 years of abuse. Like, if he would have not protected little E, there's so many people that would have been spared. So many people that would have been spared. The FBI protected little E. The government got found guilty in the lawsuit from Maria Farmer and her little sister. Anyway, the stories are just horrific. The victims are phenomenal individuals to be able to discuss publicly what happened to them, and to be able to do that without the shame and the blame that's so often attached. Because even if other people aren't victim blaming and shaming you, which they will, we all know that, it's easy to do like the internalized self blaming and shaming. Like, how stupid was I to think that, or, why didn't I just leave, or, why did I do this? Why didn't I handle it that way? It's just really sad. And then these women who, their lives are destroyed for many, many years, and then they are able to recover and take control, take their lives back from these jack-offs. And yeah, so I'm still studying up. I've looked at a lot of the documentaries. Filthy Rich is one on Netflix. It's got 4 episodes, and that's about all of this crap that I'm talking about. And, little T is in all of these documentaries. His name and his face show up all over the place. Yesterday's video, in the thumbnail, I used a picture of him and his wife and little E and Ghislaine. There's a lot of pictures of those folks together. And then today I used pictures of the Farmer sisters. So poor little Annie Farmer was 15 probably when the abuse started in 1996. And then, like I said, Maria Farmer, her older sister, she was the oldest of all the siblings, and she was about 10 years older. So she did not know for a long time that her little sister got tricked into the trap as well. Let me stay caught up with you guys. Every last one of them has connections to MO, DIJEGM, LW, Warner Brothers, P. Did, DJT, EM, Larry E. with Oracle. Oh, yeah, I know Oracle. Jeff B., Bill G., M. Zuck, et al., etc., etc., etc. So the D is the little T, and then the JE is the little E, and then GM is the little E's girlfriend, slave, whatever, sick piece of crap. LW is the richest guy in Ohio. Warner Brothers is probably where Weinstein worked, or he had his own thing, didn't he? Wasn't he like a competitor of Warner Brothers? And then Diddy, and then DJT. That isn't that the same as the D that you started with? I'm not sure. And then EM, Larry E with Oracle. I'm forgetting who EM is. Yeah, they're all so freaking evil. So Jeff B, Bill G, M Zuck. So, and how many of them? I know who EM is, the Tesla rat. Tesla rat. That's what we'll call him. How many of these MFs have their Legion farms already seeded, already procreating to the nth degree? Glad to see you. You'll be okay, Annabes. That is true. Who is MOBT? I already forgot. I had the MO, didn't I? Or did I forget what that was? Because I was thinking Missouri. We'll come up with it. The BT. I don't see the BT. Oh, that's BoobTube. Who is MO? Put MO with emojis and AD, all one word. I don't want her stream struck. Well, thank you, BT. MO with emojis and AD. Oh, it's like a puzzle. Gotcha. At Zorro Beach, he experimented with creating his own. Ew, that's where little E. So the Zorro Ranch, I said beach. Zorro Ranch sold for about 26 million. The Manhattan townhouse sold for about 55 million. I think Epstein Island sold for about 55 million. And then the place in New Albany is still owned by Les. So all of these teenagers, local and from all over the world, would come through the ranch in New Albany, if you want to call that a ranch, the compound, the prison, and they would hang out for like long weekends to do their photo shoots for the Abercrombie and Fitch catalogs. So Michael Jeffries and his scumbag cohorts would abuse the F out of these kids. Absolutely disgusting. I bet they do. Sorry, I didn't put commas in very often. Yep, definitely not in that list. Tesla rat. Warner was very involved with Harvey. And then for our Donnie to say that he was schlonged. Oh, he's rich and powerful. He was schlonged. It's like, yeah, the rich and the powerful is how he got so schlonged. And it's about time that all of his schlonging gets him schlonged right back, right? Ugh. So yeah, we still don't know who the MO with the emojis and AD, all one word. Oh man, me brain not hitting it. Okay, so Acosta, Alex Acosta. And so the feds and the New York PD, they all went down to Palm Beach, and they were part of this situation that finally got Acosta forced out of his cabinet position that Donnie gave him back in 2017 at the beginning of his first term. He resigned July 19th of 2019, and then little E was found deceased in his jail cell less than a month later. And Acosta had been in charge of the case in Florida when the feds and the NYPD went to Palm Beach and all of that happened. Then you got to remember this deputy from West Palm Beach that moved to Russia. So let me kill this ant. Hold on. Gross. Ugh. Oh, yeah, I got it. Thank goodness. Ew, disgusting. It was this giant ant on my light. Okay, got it. I had my 2 little books and could squish it. So, yeah, I'll figure it all out later. I'm sure I will, but I love puzzles. So I'm like, M-O-M-O-M-O-A-D. Musician, movie star, model, owner. Okay. Absolutely, you're not on that list, BT. So the guy who went to Russia, that guy, and then this Acosta, Alex Acosta, Deputy John Mark Dugan is the one who, I said West Palm Beach. I take that back. Palm Beach County Sheriff Deputy. And he fled in 2016, and he'd been there for 5 years. So he would have started in about 2011. And he's been living in Russia ever since, running about 150 fake news channel types of things, artificial intelligence, managing them. And I think he's besties with Vladdy. And then there's the Jean-Luc Brunel, who was found in his prison cell in France 3 years ago, exactly the same way that little E was found in his prison cell in 2019 in New York. So Jean-Luc Brunel was the French modeling agent. And yeah. Oh my goodness, Betsy DeVoe's brother is the owner of Blackwater. Do you remember Betsy DeVoe from Donnie's first term? She was a piece of work. Wasn't she the one that was in charge of the Department of the Secretary of Education? The Department of Education? Betsy DeVoe. I just remember her being like an evil witch. So her brother owns Blackwater. And Blackwater, if you don't know, I don't know that much about it yet, but I'll be researching that too, is deep pockets that has everything to take over the world and to take over in the event of like martial law, basically. So a lot of these little freaking airplanes that keep going down and helicopters have people on them that manage businesses much like that. So that one company, satellite and cable company down in Delray, and the airplane that crashed, which just south of Delray Beach, the town. So Mar-a-Lago is just north of Delray, or no, Delray is north of Mar-a-Lago. And then let me look. Like I said, it's one of the few places I haven't visited. Oh, here we go. I've got my atlas. Oh, I love my atlas. Screw all this high-tech stuff. Let's just go old school. So Florida, where are you? Crazy Florida man, where are you? hard to read all of this craziness, huh? There we go. And West Palm Beach, Boca Raton, is that it? Is that where the airport is? No. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, Boca Raton is where the airport is. So that company was in Boca Raton. The dad and the daughter were from Delray, which is just north of there. And then, oh, I can't remember where Mar-a-Lago is, but it's right around there. It's either just I think it's due south of Boca Raton. Anyway, let me stick with my notes. They're better. That map is too big to hold on to. And Christy Nome and her stolen purse, you guys. What the F? That is bogus. Have you heard some of the crazy details with that they're putting out? I don't buy it for a second. I talked about it a little bit yesterday. I was suspicious, and a lot of people are suspicious, and I'm just like, yeah, no. Let me read you something that a friend of mine sent me about it, and she's not a conspiracy theorist at all, but she sent me this from Facebook. I don't know who wrote it. More and more seems fishy about Nome's theft while at a DC restaurant yesterday. Our DC, Maryland news is reporting her security were at the bar near her table, that the thief was able to be seated at the table next to hers and was able to slide his foot under her table and drag her purse to him, then exit with the purse under his jacket. I don't know about you, but could that actually happen at any restaurant you've gone to? Why did the security miss that? She said she was carrying $3,000 to pay for dinner of her kids and grandkids. This is a burger joint, not like, Maxwell's Plum or something. $3,000 to pay for dinner of her kids and grands and then pay for Easter gifts. And again, nobody buys Easter gifts on Easter. Here, that's what they say next. What grandmother do you know that buys Easter gifts on Easter? Why carry your passport and blank checks for dinner out with the family? The makeup kit would be needed to touch up all the work she's had done. So I get that. Plus, this wasn't an elite DC 5-star restaurant, a burger type tavern. Unless you live in the area or follow Felon 47, you may not have heard him attack DC as filthy, graffiti-ridden, and high-crime area. Plus, the DC police were not called when it happened. Call me a conspiracy theorist, but something is truly off. Yeah, so her situation, and then combining that with the Secretary of Defense and his current situation, and I highly suspect that Donnie is chomping at the bit to declare martial law, have a huge distraction, and just take over the world and say, screw you all, I do what I want, whatever, right? Okay. BoobTube knows. Oh, don't even get me started with that entity. I know I've heard other people talk about it, and I haven't known very much about it. There's Black Rock, and then there's Blackwater. Are they related? Blackwater has their hands in everything. And what a weird name. Like, that's just creepy. Wasn't Melanoma involved in Jean-Luc's modeling company? Well, see, this is what I'm wondering, Anna Bees, is I'm wondering if she had to be trafficked to El Presidente, because why on earth would she be with him unless it was her job, right? Oh, crap. Stupid thing. Anna Bees. Let me see if I can do that without erasing your message or going to your page. Okay. Sure do, Anna Bees, and is closely linked to Black Rock dealings or Black That one is rock, right? It's hard to see what that gray shape is. And ops, and all circles back to those listed above. Right. So that little family, the dad and the grandpa, Stephen, not Stearns, that's the other disgusting guy. These people, oh, I have it in my notes. The daughter's name is Brooke. The granddad's name is Robert Stark, the Stark family. So Brooke was 17. Stephen Stark was 54. He'd just been appointed to be the president of his dad's company. His dad was 81, Robert Stark. And he had this company that he'd built for 40 years that contracted with Microsoft, Hewlett Packard, Cisco, and just a couple others. And they were very specialized with satellite and cable business things, hashtag other things. I don't think it's a coincidence that their plane went down. It went down on the same street as the dad's company that's called like US Communications and something. Again, it's all in my notes. I try to just go off my brain. But finding information about that family, the Stark family, or finding information about that company was so hard. Like finally finding what the company was, what the family's company, like they're all low profile and highly scrubbed off the interwebs. And so the daughter that was so young, 17, she was trying to go to Tallahassee to look at the college because she's at the end of her junior year. And her name was Brooke. And then her dad and grandpa, the three of them on that little airplane that crashed right after it took off. And it literally crashed on the same road, street, or boulevard that the flagship company is on, which is called Old Military Trail Road, I think, and right near the airport. And this company is in every state in our country, and it's international, is my understanding. But that's the flagship one, and like right on the same street. And then they're Jewish, and coupling that with that family in the airplane crash up in upstate New York. And if I can remember their last name too, I want to say it starts with an R. The mom, the dad, the brother, and the sister, and then the boyfriend and the girlfriend, and the mom and the dad were surgeons. The dad was a neurosurgeon. The mom was a urologist, gynecological surgeon. The daughter was in medical school at Columbia. Goff, is that their name? Graff, Graff, something like that. Anyway, like I said, it's in all of my freaking notes. Too many notebooks. Yeah, Groff, Groff. So Karina Groff was the one who was in medical school studying neuroscience to be like a neurosurgeon engineer, right? Neuroscience engineering was what she was getting her doctorate degree in. She was the one who had been named Woman of the Year when she was at MIT on their soccer team, and did so well in school and invented a mask for helping prevent COVID back in the COVID days. And then her boyfriend, James Santoro, who was a star on the lacrosse team at MIT. And then, so their little sister, Annika Groff, was the only one who wasn't on that plane. And this was on the first day of Sabbath. This was the same day as Governor Shapiro's house was firebombed. And that plane crashed right before it landed, like probably like a minute before it landed. And then the son, Jared Groff, I think he was an investment banker. I think James Santoro, the boyfriend of Karina Goff, was also an investment banker. I think at least one of them was. I think they both were. No, 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 no. Jared Groff was working in a law office. James Santoro was doing the banking. But Alexia Coiches Duarte was the girlfriend of Jared, who had just been at Harvard that day because she was starting law school at Harvard this coming fall of 2025. And she already had made quite a name for herself. They both, all of these young adults had made quite names for themselves professionally, even while still studying. Alexia had worked at a law office in Miami where she specialized in none other than immigration law. So she was going to go to Harvard, and her family, they were all immigrants from South America, I think. And yeah, from Colombia. So Jared and Alexia, and then the dad of the Groff kids, they all went to Swarthmore College in Pennsylvania. And then intake specialist at Ryan Immigrant Center in Miami is where Alexia had been working. And then where the plane crashed was in upstate New York, but really close to the Massachusetts border, really close to the Connecticut border, like just a few miles away, and also near like 3 or 4 state parks. So a lot of good getting lost with whose jurisdiction is this anyway kind of crap. And then coupling all of these careers, and the Groff family, the dad and the older daughter specifically, seemed like their careers would have been simpatico with like computer chips in the brain, that kind of thing, right? Neurobiology, neurosurgery. Her dad was a neurosurgeon and she was studying neurobiology engineering. But then that family from Spain that was in that freaking helicopter that fell apart over the Hudson River. No, I'm not a crazy conspiracy theorist. Where's my tinfoil hat? That family, the mom and the dad, were both like super high-powered mucky mucks with Siemens Industry, which is another huge company, probably in competition with Blackwater, definitely in competition with all of the big E's businesses. So Siemens, for anybody that doesn't know, I mean, they've been around forever, and their flagship is in Brussels, Germany. No, Belgium, Germany, right? Yeah, Belgium. And then the dad was the CEO. The mom was in charge of global communications. Like, come on. And then the 3 little kids that went down in that plane. I mean, these kids, I think, are collateral damage. I think Brooke of the Stark family was collateral damage. I think Annika Groff, the surviving sister who was not on this airplane with her mom, dad, brother, and sister, and the boyfriend and the girlfriend, she's the collateral damage. And then the little kids from Spain are the collateral damage. Like these are acts of terrorism, in my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. And I'm sure I'm going to lose my feed now, right? But all that does when something like that happens is it just confirms that I'm not insane, that I'm not the Nutty Bunny. I was going to change the name of my channel to I'm Not the Nutty Bunny. Let me slow down for a second, read your chat, and drink my coffee. I don't want to mess up my thing. Let's see. Yes, Anna, I have her old modeling pics from when she was just an unknown pipsqueak. What do you want to bet? She was like a mail order bride, essentially sold to freaking Donnie. She was 28 allegedly, and he was 52. No, I can't do math. She was 26 allegedly, and he was 52. Because there's no. There's a 24-year age difference. She's turning 55. He's turning 79. 24-year age difference. So yeah, she was 28 and he was 52 when they met. And she has her little story about how they met. That's probably just a story. Or maybe that is how they met, but she left the part out about how much she paid for the contract, right? I mean, it's so obvious. He's so gross. And I mean, just my opinion, but he's so gross, objectively speaking. And she's still a knockout. I mean, not my type. I don't like the evil eyes. I don't like the sucking on a lemon look. but it is funny, right? I mean, she's absolutely gorgeous, and she seems like she hates his guts. She never wants to be around him. She doesn't even want to be in the same state as him, let alone have him touch her hand or try to kiss her or anything like that. I was kind of surprised she even showed up for the inauguration. I was surprised that Ivanka did too. I don't think she'd talked to her dad much from what I've heard since J6. You know, Ivanka had called her dad a couple of times begging him to call off the hounds, and I'm pretty sure she distanced herself after that. And then there's that whole other crazy conspiracy I was on last week about Mitch McConnell's wife, Elaine Chao, who was the first person in the government to resign because of January 6th. And then her sister passed away in that bizarre Tesla accident on her own property, basically, a year ago, February. And then remember that on Melania's birthday last year, her birthday's in 3 days, April 26th. Last year, that was the same day that the big container ship crashed into that bridge in Baltimore. And I'm going to put a link to the funniest video in the world that I just found yesterday about that. It's the comedian who does like a really grotesque Vance with like way too much black eyeliner, and sometimes he just like draws all over his face, and he's really heavy, and he just does a really good job of being really disgusting. Like at first I could barely watch him. I was just like, no thanks. But he's hilarious. I put 2 links to 2 of his videos in yesterday's live description, and one of them is the video that he made when the Pope had refused to allow JD to visit, and then the other one is 48 hours later after the actual visit. So it's like funny, not funny. But then I found one on there that was from last year about the container ship, and it is hilarious. Oh man, he's so funny. Too many jokes about couches. Oh my goodness. I saw a meme that our dear Pope, this was a meme. It said, tell JD I'm not here and hide the couches. Oh my goodness. Let me keep up with you guys, because I know you guys have the best comments. And I was just seeing if I had screenshot any of those hilarious memes. I don't think I did. Okay. I finally found Shan's video with the $33 billion in government contracts that Scammy's parents have for this decade of 2020 to 2030. Over $33 billion of government contracts. So that would have been awarded towards at some point in Little T's first administration, because it's for contracts from 2020 to 2030. So I'll do a community post with the contract, with a screenshot of the contract and a link to Shan's video. I'm still looking for the thing about the letter that Kylie Rodney wrote to the newspaper or to senators, maybe to state of California, about making plastic bags illegal in the state of California. And she wrote that when she was like 11 or 12. So yeah, the thing about this property in New Albany is that it really looks like a fortress and a prison, and it really is a fortress and a prison. Okay, let me keep up with you guys. Anna says, thanks, BT. You are so smart. I agree. You guys are too. I'm so glad there's others who understand. I'm so glad we're all here together, you guys. I'm so flattered that you guys watch my channel and that you take the time to be in my chat and make your comments. It's very touching. I could just cry. Thank you. I'm so happy to host this little get together. So get your tea, get your coffee. We're not done yet. We're just an hour and 11 minutes into it. And maybe some people had to take off because it says there's only 2 here now, but let me keep reading. Wasn't Diddy's church called Black something? Boob Tube says, I can't remember, Anna. I can go look. Somehow it was tied to the Kardashians church. Like, that seems like an oxymoron right there. Kardashian and church, those don't go together. OMG, there's some serious Titanic crap going on there. But you know, there's serious Titanic crap going on with all of this. Like, seriously. I didn't know about the K's, but that makes sense. It's so obvious. Well, I mean, if you start connecting the dots, right? It's like they hide it in plain sight. Like when Alex Acosta was in his position, and what was that stupid position that he was in that he had to resign from in 2019? A month before little E was offed. Too many different notebooks. This is why I try really hard to only have one, but then I always end up with at least 2. And is it this one? I think it's this one. Yeah. So these channels, you guys, Get a Clue and True Crime Time. I think I've always suspected that both of those channels were the lead detective from the Idaho 4 case who curated those channels. And both of those channels, I think, are completely gone, like completely deleted, which is unusual. You know, usually when people are done with their channel, they still leave everything up. But I think we should contact the Ann Taylor and make sure that she knows about those YouTube channels, because she's so busy. Her and her people, they might not even know. And I'm sure you can find everything with the Wayback Machine, right? I've never tried that. Let me see what I got here. I have a lot of the names of other victims of the little E and Ghislaine. So in 2008, Alex Acosta was the labor secretary. Well, he was the labor secretary for the Trump administration, but he had a different role in Florida when he was probably like the DA or something like that, when he gave little E the sweetheart deal of a lifetime. And little E was convicted of child sex trafficking, and I think he got sentenced to 18 months or something insane like that. But in my notes it says that little E was never indicted in 2008. It was a secret deal. Oh man. And the federal government was charged and convicted of conspiring with little E to violate the victim's rights. Acosta and the federal government failed to inform and actively misled the victims. The feds were convicted of breaking the law. That's just nuts, isn't it? So that stolen purse. Okay, man. Doesn't it just make your head spin? I mean, trying to keep up with this stuff is completely insane. It's completely crazy making and nauseating, and that's how they get away with it. But I can't stop, won't stop. And then so you say JP Diddy's church. See, I got confused and I was thinking P. Diddy's church. JP Diddy's church. Thank you, Annabise. Let me hit the thing to highlight that one if I can without screwing everything up. I'm glad I looked at that again. So, yeah, not Sean Combs, but John Paul down in South Carolina with the Micah Miller case. And I haven't been keeping up with the Micah Miller case. I mean, I thought that I would, but that was before I got all into this political snake pit of crime. Let's see. Yeah, the Kardashian, the K family, Annabise, remember that whole Scott concert, first name Travis, that concert in Houston right after the pandemic, Astro World with the 10 fatalities. That was very, very revealing. And then some of the advertisements that his girlfriend, Kylie, not with a K, but with a J for the last name, her perfume and some of the advertisements that look like horror shows and horror and horror, both very, very creepy AF. And it's not allowing me to do what I'm trying to do. My camera did something weird with the light when I said something 13 minutes ago. Probably when I was saying how I was going to lose my feed. Right? That was probably exactly when it was. Again, all that does is confirm to me. The K Church was accused of being a big embezzlement. Well, it's all laundering. It's all for laundering too. And then, the whole K family and the J girls that are part of the K family, they all have like millions of followers on their social media. And it's been proven that some of those followers were fake and were bought and stuff like that. I mean, that's just so stupid, I mean, something like Jimmy Kimmel's Live, his show has over 20 million subs, and they probably earned every single one of them because they're funny AF. But these little people that are famous simply for being famous, have virtually no talent. And yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of young people that'll worship the K family and, sub up to whatever social media they have, but it seems like a lot of it's fake too. I mean, a lot of people despise them and wouldn't look at their crap if you paid them. Someone says that name and I can't help but laugh. I'm so immature. Which name, BoobTube? I'm not sure which name you're speaking of, but yeah, my fat thumbs keep messing up with the screen, so I'm going to have to be very careful. Let's see. Your camera did something weird with the lighting when you said that. Every time BoobTube says, allegedly, JE had 2 honeypots. One was for blackmail. The other is reported to be high order mail-in brides. Either way, it afforded him the opportunity to hold power against influential people. Right. So, yeah, by honeypots, do you mean like his safe where he kept all of the videos? Oh, man. BT, he had a lot of power over people. No wonder he unalived himself. LOL. Right. And it makes sense how our current leader is in his position. If he has all of that evidence that little E had been stashing away in his safes, and I bet he does. I just thought of that yesterday. I was like, oh, duh. Like, because I was thinking, where did it all go? Like, law enforcement had it. They confiscated it at least out of the townhouse in Manhattan. But it's all just like disappeared, right? So true, Anna Bees. Much love, Jazz. It's an honor speaking with those who understand. Oh, you're the best. Yes, I'm convinced that BK is a patsy. I know, me too. Me too. And I'm not convinced that those 4 people were unalived the way it's portrayed for the whole case. I mean, the fact that there's no evidence of their remains ever being removed from the residence is just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, because there was paparazzi out there was friends and family. There's no way that went undetected. Unless they took them through tunnels. That's the only thing that could be. But if they took them through tunnels, they could have taken them alive through the tunnels or deceased. If there's tunnels, which it certainly seems like there were, and that's one of the reasons why they had to demolish the place. It seems, in my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. As for the Wayback Machine, it depends on whether or not anyone bothered to cache the page for web crawlers to search. Well, we better look soon because it all gets scrubbed, right? I concur, Anna Bees. Acosta was the Attorney General, I believe. Attorney General for the state of Florida. Yeah, thank you, Anna Bees. Right. And then what was it? I said that he was for the first administration. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. I can't keep up. What was he for? Okay, my brain is just crashing. Way too much going on with all this disgusting crap. Absolutely disgusting crap. I thought I had it written down in here, but let me just... I'm sure I'm looking right at it. He was the labor secretary for the first administration. So that was for 2 years, and then he had to resign because of the plea deal that he had arranged for little E back in Florida when he was what you said. What was it you said? Attorney General, the state attorney general? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think it was state attorney general back then, and then labor secretary for Trumpster Fire. And I tried to look at where he is now, and he was like doing some ridiculous public speaking, I think, in another country because he doesn't have a career here. He claims that he was shut down. If you're the AG, there's only one entity that can stop you. Fact. Come on, thing. I think the stolen purse is probably a payoff of some sorts. Well, I'm thinking that it was so that then they can have all this crazy stuff happen and say it was the stranger who stole it. Because they're saying that they have the person on videotape, but that he had like a COVID mask on. He's just some white guy that, and they're not showing the public the alleged surveillance camera so that people can help identify him. It's insane. Yes, I remember about the concert. I've been working with others for Micah. Oh, I'm so glad, BoobTube. I'm done creating my own content just to be hunted by a-holes for now. I'm done. I hear ya. Crazy. And yeah, especially when you're working on a case like that is so specific. And then we know that JP's gone after a bunch of people, and he's like tried to pay anybody $300 or something that can find dirt on a content creator that's covered the case or some stupid crap, and then he'll come up onto your panel and make friends with you. What? That guy is high. Just like the big E and maybe the little T. Yes, that's when it was. Siemens, LOL, hilarious. I know, BoobTube. I try not to go there. Semen Industries. Honeypot equals money. Honeypot, sweet looking treat, but really a trap. Aha. Yes. And Drip Drop showed the tunnel entrance before and during the demolition of the house. That's true, Annabes. I still think Drip Drop's initial videos questioning Kaylee's on and off again boyfriend, Jack D. I still think Jack D has everything to do with it too. I mean, how can you just like skip right over the fact that they called him 10 times and that the whole thing with the dog and just the fact that he had eyes on the place and all of it, all of it. And that he was with them at the bar that night and that he first lied and said he didn't go out. BT, I wish you weren't done, but I understand it's hard to have a target on your back. Yeah, well, and I would think that it was MC Ultra that MC Ultra'd you. I know that they went hard after Shan, and I think she's definitely working for the company, you know? Scammy's parents, basically. If they manage $34 billion worth of contracts, they're right up there with all these other freaks we're talking about. And it makes me wonder if our dear KR might also be part of this underground white slavery. And then, you know, you put the Bohemian Grove in there, the Pelosi's, all of it. All of it. More tunnels, WTF, like Calneva and Disneyland and P. Diddy Los Angeles tunnels. I don't know anything about Disneyland tunnels or Cal Nevada, but I believe it. I mean, with Vegas and, you know, then Disney World in Florida, although you probably can't do tunnels in Florida because of the sand, but California, yeah. Very hard, Anna. When that clears up, I may come back. For now, I lay low. It's been very taxing. I'm so sorry, BoobTube. And your work is so appreciated. So appreciated. I think Drip Drop has dropped off YouTube for the same reason. He just puts out law enforcement interviews with criminals. Well, I think that's what his channel always was, especially, you know, you have Crime Circus, and then you've got the other one that's also called Crime Circus. Crime Circus and Crime Circus something else. Let's see. The YouTube will tell me. If I can figure out how to use it, that is. But yeah, he definitely takes breaks. So Crime Circus, what's the second channel? Oh, Crime Circus Cult, right? So yeah, I was watching his videos about the Richard Allen interviews. That whole case seems ridiculous too. And you know, it's so annoying when you're trying to look for truth and then people want to just say, oh no, the law enforcement would never lie. You must be crazy. It's just like, give me a break. You're like, you must be stupid or you're part of it. You know, are you like a paid operative or are you just dumb AF? Which one? Or both? All the above, right? Oh, but yeah, I think Drip Drop got trolled heavily. And, you know, I think I was trolled heavily back when I was hyper focused on that case too. That's when my phone and my laptop blew up in the same day. It was over Memorial Day weekend a couple of years ago. Both of them just poof. And we know Megan shared with us that that's an easy thing to do, right? MC Ultra shared that with us. It's easy just to send some code and get that going. More tunnels, WTF. Very hard, Anna. Okay, let's see. I think Jack D was heavily involved. Anna B's, I think that all of these people were heavily involved. I mean, obviously the law enforcement, obviously the president of the university, the two survivors that witnessed nothing, the two witnesses that didn't witness nothing. Yeah. the jackass. Oh, and then the freaking driver. I forget that person's name. I mentioned him recently, and I know other people have been talking about him online too. I do try to keep up a little bit, but most of it I just think is so much effing shenanigans. I'm not going to waste my time. And when I was like deep diving Idaho 4 all day, every day back, about 2 years ago? I think about 2 years ago is when I stopped, when I was like on it all day, every day. I think I started a few weeks after it happened. For the first couple of weeks, I was trying not to. I was like, I don't want to get distracted from Kylie's case. And, I was on Trinity's case. Oh, that was something I wanted to share with you guys. I'm so glad I mentioned that because I started to, and then I got distracted by 12,000 other thoughts. So this comment by Kathy Plouffe, 216, is still not allowed to be on my post. It says, and the post was about Trinity. Wow, who better to know how suspect Trinity's case has turned out to be? Oh, it was a post of her stepdad and his identical twin brother that are both local law enforcement. So the stepdad, Nevada County Sheriff deputy, and his identical twin brother, California State Highway Patrol trooper. So it was just a photograph of the two of them on a community post. So this comment has never been allowed to be seen. Wow. Who better to know how suspect Trinity's case has turned out to be? Looks like there are some real demons pretending to be human in Northern California. No disrespect for law enforcement, but one can imagine the damage bad law enforcement can do to sully the reputations of good law enforcement. Oh yeah, I've seen it in real life, up close. Truckee has shown its true colors and then some, with all law enforcement present, and there were many stood down when that woman sheriff put her bare hands all over the back of Kylie's car. Yeah. I don't know if she was a sheriff or a deputy. The like I want to say Nuck Fucker or whatever her last name was. Yeah, all over the back of Kylie's car and all over the steering wheel. Because we know Scammy's fingerprints were all over that steering wheel. She's probably the one who drove it into the water. Not one made her stop. She then proceeded to put her bare hands all over the driver's door and steering wheel. She was not helping the tow truck driver. She was trying to cover up evidence. And I said, bingo, oddly, this comment is not showing up in the comments where you posted it. I've had to go into my channel management to find it. Why do you think that might be? No cursey words, no community guidelines violated. Yeah, stuff is nuts, you guys. Thank goodness for social media, and hopefully it doesn't get eradicated by a fascist regime, right? It easily could. I mean, it's already like heavily regulated by a fascist regime, in my opinion. Let's see. Damn sure did that to me and others. It will catch up with her. I promise. Thank you for seeing it. Oh, she's so evil. Remember when she was trying to say that Ara like grew up in Truckee? Because there was like some girl with long brown hair and braces when the girl was like 13 that she was like, that could be Ara. Oh, MG, what a no. That was the other whack job. That was the one in Chillicothe, whose name we shall not mention. Disney World has them too, built on top of the land. Theme park built on top of that. There's old pictures of construction. Oh, wow. Well, yeah, I was thinking that they would have tunnels even just for like the characters to come and go for their performances. And that would be a good cover for why they have them, right? I think Kylie might have been supposed to be traffic too, but she was red rummed before it happened. Well, or she might have already been and she was fighting it. And yeah, preach it, Jazz. They dumb AF. You're so cute. I remember that happening to your phone and laptop. Oh my goodness. I didn't think I could survive without either one of them for a day. And I survived without a laptop for probably 6 weeks. And then I just upgraded to the best laptop ever. Um, and then, yeah, I remember having to use my cell phone a lot for the lives, which is really frustrating, especially because it's so hard to read your chat because it's tiny and it doesn't stick around. So, Anna, I can only say so much right now. Oh, yeah, I can't wait until you can share. If you want to send me an email, BoobTube, and if you want, I could forward it to Anna B's. My email address is justiceatooz@gmail.com. Oh, and Anna B's, I responded that I got your address, so I'll get your thing in the mail. Yay. I had 3 devices burn up. I can prove my Google account was turned off and they walked right around my VPN. Wow. Wow. That's wild. So yeah, I think this is my 4th laptop, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, then that weird little channel from Chillicothe, she was all like Jazz and her all of her laptops. I don't have that kind of money. It's like, yeah, I don't have that kind of money either, you idiot. The first one was old and cheap. The second one was from Costco and they gave me a full refund. The third one was from Worst Buy Ever and cost a lot, like as much as a car. It was a gaming laptop. It was crazy freaking awesome. And then when they were taking 1,000,000,000 years to fix it, then I just got a less expensive. I miss that gaming laptop though. I do. I have to admit it. I've wanted to get that back ever since I let it go. But I let it go because they were working on it forever and they said that I'd have it back within like 6 weeks to 2 months and I was like I can't survive that long without it, and then I did, and then I still didn't have it back, so I was just like, yeah, you guys can bite me. That's why I call them Worst Buy Ever. Okay. Anna, I can only say so much. 3 devices. Didn't some dumb biatch from Truckee say she knew hackers that could burn your phone up and now she's recently been playing with more? I'm watching closely. Well, and what about Sifa? Like, who the F was that when they had their little channel? And first they said they were a guy in their early 30s and they were going through a divorce and they had 7 kids. And then they were the only ones that had a birth certificate for Ms. Rodney. So, for all we know, Ms. Rodney is part of some farm type of thing that we've talked about, and there is no freaking birth certificate, because that was why Sifa came out to the streets of YouTube, was to say, oh look, I've got the birth certificate right here. And then it turned out that Sifa was like connected to MC Ultra. That was so weird. So Pete, Segdeath, he has 7 kids also, and I think he's about 40 years old, and he was married with 3 kids, and his current wife, who's his 3rd wife, was also married with 3 kids, and they were having an affair at work and had a freaking baby. Like, that's why his second wife left him, was because she found out that his mistress had his baby. So they were both actively married with 3 kids when they decided to, like, to hell with the world, screw everyone. We don't care about anybody but ourselves. Like, what disgusting freaks, man. I mean, sure, we all make mistakes, but you got little kids involved, and that's just gross. And then they try to act like they're all religious and crap. Give me a freaking break. So my guess is that Pete and Donnie both have videotape evidence on each other with underage folks. That's my guess. That's why things are the way they are. You think? If you think so, put a one in the chat. I'm going to get caught up. I'm going to try to log off before we hit 2 hours. It's a quarter till 2 hours. And I also might want to look at my notes again, but they're so confusing to me. But there's a lot in them. That's why they're so confusing. I tried to make it less confusing. You're right. That was from Judas regarding Miss Ara. Yes. BS. Yeah. I just may miss Jazz. A lot of bad characters involved in trying to mislead people. Well, and then the SF investigates, and him saying how the granddad is that he's been on the granddad's payroll ever since she went missing, and then was still currently a few months ago when he posted that, made that comment on social media. I don't remember if it was a comment or a post, but like, that's crazy. Like, what the F would you be on Kylie's dad's payroll for the last 2.5 years? Siffa was a hacker who knows what else. Well, they might have been the same person as MC Ultra. That might have just been a sock, right? Here's the birth certificate. Like, MC Ultra couldn't come out and say, "Oh, here's the birth certificate," because she had no credibility. She already was like, "Oh, I know about this thing that's going to come out within 24 hours, and I can't tell anybody, but I've been sent out into the streets of YouTube to tell all you guys that I know about it, but you have to wait till tomorrow to find out what it is I'm talking about." That was ridiculous. Ridiculous. Yeah, a lot of bad actors. Oh, I know who that freak is. They're a liar. The BFF of the Truckee plant. Screw them. Siffa, the BFF of the Truckee plant, is the Truckee plant MC Ultra. One. Enemies. Did you see that little pick me punk SF delete most of his Twitter content? LOL, I personally know whose PI license he was using in California. What a joke. Oh, that's wild. That doesn't surprise me at all. But yeah, when people scrub things off the internet, again, it's good information, right? It's like, why are you scrubbing it? Like those two channels, Get a Clue and True Crime Time. Like, why are you taking your channels off the internet and scrubbing everything? So even that profile picture that they use for True Crime Time, that Brent Kopaka used for his profile picture, the night sky black and white photo with like trees and the moon, and it was round. Even that image has been scrubbed off of Google. It was easy to find before. It was like, if you just tried to Google like night skyline with trees and moon, black and white, it came right up. It was probably like the 10th thing. And I couldn't find it to save my life now. So like, not only did they scrub the YouTube channel, they also scrubbed the Google thing. And who would have the ability to scrub the Google thing? I know who. Yeah. Siffa runs her Discord now. OMG. Oh, didn't know that, BT. Yippers. Oh my goodness. MZ. Musty Buckets, Annabes. Because I think we're talking, that's the one that lives in Chillicothe, Ohio. And then of course MC Ultra is there in Truckee. There's so much I refuse to post. They'll get their money's worth if they sue me. And I mean, MC Ultra was the one who said, "Oh yeah, we have these graduation parties at the end of summer every year for the last 40 years." It's like bullcrap. Has there been one other person to confirm that other than Scammy? No, not the one who made FB. Oh, yeah, maybe. Or the Hamburglar family, because they are in tight affiliation with the owner of the Google. I forget who owns the Google. Okay. So Christy Gnome's purse and Pete Segbreath's craziness. Oh my goodness, that Christy Gnome pointing that gun at a coworker's head in that photograph from the thumbnail for yesterday's live. Insanity. So Jennifer Ruche is Pete Seth Death's wife. They got married August 19th of 2019. Oh, right around the same time as Epstein's life ending. Interesting. A month after Acosta had to quit. Interesting. I mean, he was a Fox. They both worked for Fox News, so we know they're all in it. Looking for the date of Epstein's passing away, August 10th, 2019. So 9 days later, Hegbreath got married at Donnie's property. I think it was one of his golf courses up in Jersey. Not the one that his ex-wife is buried at, another one. A national golf course is something or another. And yeah. So Jennifer Ruche had Hegseth's Pete's baby in 2017. They were both not yet divorced. So could the big E be trafficking people to make his legion of creeps? Could he be? Because he hung out with the little E also. The big E hung out with the little E also. Scumbags. Absolutely disgusting. So yeah, that Betsy DeVoe's brother. Oh man. Oh man. And Palm Beach and all of these helicopters and small airplanes. There's so much. It's impossible to keep up. All we can do is try our best. Oh, and then Hegsbreath is from Tennessee, which is also a really bad state for the trafficking of people, in my understanding. Also, the state where Summer disappeared from. And then he's involved in that weird church that's in Moscow that's behind all this crap too. The I can't even keep up. Doug Wilson, what's the name of his stupid church? Is it Doug Wilson? And so Heg's breath is tight with that. Let's see. Christian nationalism. Isn't that like a terrorist group or something? Yeah, Douglas Wilson. Covenant theology. He was featured in the documentary film Collision, documenting his debates with antitheist. What is that? Like atheists, but it's anti-theist. Christopher Hitchens on their promotional tour for the book Is Christianity Good for the World? Oh my goodness. These people that want to say they're Christians and then they say horrible things about Pope Francis that just passed away because he wasn't conservative enough for their tastes. Yeah, well, what would Jesus do, right? So let me just quickly try to sum up everything. Um, Time me out, Anna, please. That's funny, BoobTube. The big E is involved with PT, who is involved with the trafficking, so it makes sense. Oh, Teal, the guy who paid for Vance's education. What is that? Who you're talking about, Anna Bees? No way, BT. Shucks. Um, so mad about the things Marge said. They are all trash. Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene, freaking freak of nature. And yeah, they all are. Like, don't be saying derogatory things about anybody when they've just passed away. I mean, unless it's somebody like Little E, then sure, have at it. But not a freaking pope. Are you kidding me? But, if they worship what I think they worship, then that all flies, right? Doesn't Teal do that weird fetal cell crapola? A lot of them do, boob tube. Like they drink the, what is that stuff? It's like a hormone. I haven't thought of that in a long time. That they harvest, like they want the kids to be afraid so that they have that hormone going through their system. What is it? um Adrenochrome. See, I didn't even have to find it. I just have to like start looking at things. Adrenochrome. So they drink the adrenochrome. They want people to be in a state of fear when they take their red stuff so that it's full of the adrenochrome because they think that has some magic qualities. They do all kinds of disgusting things, allegedly. Um, yeah. That's nasty. Yes, I don't like to spell his name out, so I say PT. And then you said no way BT, but that got me confused, Anna. So yeah, PT. Uh-huh. So yeah, like why the F was he paying for JD's law degree at Yale? Like that's bizarre. Ugh. Ugh. Okay, let me finish looking at all of this stuff. And I think I'm done. I think I'm spent. I don't think I can do no more content, but I just want to look through this real quick to see if there's anything that I really need to discuss. Um, I guess just the happy, happy, joy, joy that Harvard is now suing Donnie, for the letter that was accidentally sent to them with all the illegal demands in it. So that's funny. So yeah, when is he going to hit that button for the martial law or nuclear war? So many mistakes. So many mistakes. I mean, these people are just hacks. They don't know how to do their job, and then they just do all this crazy stuff and call it work. um, oh my goodness, I got to mention this. When Stephen Miller says that they're not going to kidnap Garcia out of El Salvador, what a weird way to phrase it, especially because, of course, you're not going to even be able to do that. You'd have to have the coordination from the prison and from the president. But you did kidnap him to get him to El Salvador. So what a stupid, like, double speak, double think. And yeah, I think the brain is just fried. Let's talk about puppies. Here, should I go grab the puppy real quick? I have that adorable little puppy. She's been taking a nap. Here's a baby. Okay, you guys, I got the baby. Let's end this with happy, happy, joy, joy, puppies and lollipops. You got to see this face. She's so funny. She's like a character from Sesame Street. The way the hair grows on the sides here is she so cute. So yeah, we might be fostering her or adopting her. She's such a little love bug. Is she so goofy? Pure puppy love. But yeah, nice to end with something happy. Yes. BT wanted me to time him out, and I said, no way. That's so funny. Oh, boob tube. Okay. I'm like, BT, what? Okay. I feel like our lives are in the hands of psychos. Our hands are in the lives of psychos. You make me laugh, Anna. So does Chaz. Oh, me too, BT. It's so scary. It is scary, and yet there's so many like boots on the ground doing good things. I kind of feel like love always wins. Like, yeah, they're going to do their best to destroy the world because they're insane and they're seriously personality disturbed people that want everyone to be in as much pain as they're in. And yeah, they're just weak little evil scum of the earth with too much money and too much power. And you know, why don't they just try like taking care of themselves, just like eating healthy and exercising or something? I don't know. It's just an idea. Makes me miss my moo moo. Oh, I'm so sorry. Your little moo moo. Was moo moo a cocker spaniel like this one? So yeah, the face hair is hilarious, isn't it? So muppety. So muppety. So yeah, she was in her crate taking a nap. So I'll log off and then let her run around out back. She like just pounces and flops. She is hilarious. The way she moves. She's gotten a lot taller. Her legs are gotten a lot longer. Mwah! She's a little cutie. Oh, she was a very loyal black lab. I'm so sorry, boob tube. Yeah, our doggies are so sweet. Aren't they just the best? So yeah, this one has a lot of fun with Coco and Mookie. Coco and Mookie kind of like her, but of course they get super annoyed with her all the time because she's just like jumping on them. And I only get annoyed with her when she jumps on my laptop. But yeah, when did you lose your black lab, hun? When did you lose Moo Moo? And thanks again for being here, you guys. You're the best. I hope you have a really good afternoon. And yeah, we all need to take good care of ourselves and stay positive and just keep on keeping on. If you want to say how long it's been since Moo Moo, I'll give you a minute before I log off and say adios, amigos. And then take this little one outside because I'm sure she's going to pee on me any minute now. Any minute. Oh, she's so funny too. She gets squirmy. She does not do well when you try to hold her still. So yeah, I'm not seeing any answer. BoobTube might have had to go already. Anyway, love and light, you guys. Thanks a million. Have a great day. Try to get some fresh air and sunshine. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Anna Bees. Lost Moo Moo a few months ago. She's in my heart forever. How old was Moo Moo? I'm so sorry. That sucks. That is so hard. Losing pets is sometimes harder than people. I mean, they are people. Oh, I love the community too, Anna Bees. So yeah, the kids just walked in the door, so I'm gonna say adios. And yeah, we'll all get our fresh air, sunshine, water, veggies, and protein. Oh, I can't do that. I don't have an arrow. I have to do this, and it's not gonna work. And have a great day, you guys. See you soon.